Number four is, does money really necessarily equal quality? The short answer to that is a big fat no. Money does not always equal quality. Um, can it be uh, a, I don't want to say it doesn't have anything to do with it, because to a certain degree, I guess, in a way, but it's not necessarily. And in order to explain that, I guess I have to go ahead and do number five along with it, which is number five would be, uh, or is American made always better than import? And therein comes, these two together answer the question of, does money always equal quality? American made does not always equal a better product. We've been taught and conditioned to believe that an American made product is always superior to an import product. But we sometimes forget that we have to consider where the import is coming from before we can even begin to have the conversation of which is better. Now, if you're asking, is an American made product a better quality than, say, a very poorly constructed Indonesian product? I'd say for the most part, yes. But is an Indonesian plant capable of putting out a product as good as an American made product? Of course. Of course. We would have to be a different level of arrogant to believe that the ability of another country to make a product as good as we make it, when really we're just talking about different people. It's just a person here and a person there. Now, this person here is getting paid more money than this person over there. And that's what we're using to equate how good a job this person does, because he doesn't get paid as much. Another thing that we're leaving out of the equation is, although this person gets paid more, the cost of living where he lives is higher. And this guy's getting paid less, but then again, the cost of living where this guy lives is less. So it's not like these two people are used to the same rate of pay. So he's going, well, I'm not getting as much as that guy's getting, so I'm going to do a crappy job. It doesn't work that way. He doesn't get what that guy's getting because most people in his industry don't get what that guy's getting. So that wouldn't factor into how good a job he does at what he does. Some of the factories that have been known for putting out substandard work in the past are putting out a lot better product now. And another thing to remember too, a thing that a lot of people don't know, is even though the names on a lot of your import guitars, even though there's a different name on a lot of them, a lot of those guitars are coming from one of three factories. So for all the imports out there, they're all coming from one of three factories. And a lot of your imports that you play are coming from the same factory. So everyone that's out there saying that, oh, Schecter is such a higher quality than LTD, it's really not. It's the same factory. That's why some of these things are myths, because we're getting taught to believe something that's not true. Um, the When we say whether or not American is always the best, we have to also take in consideration there are some manufacturers out there, manufacturers of guitar, that are considered every bit our equal in manufacturing, like the Japanese factories. Talking very specifically of Ibanez's Japanese factory and ESP's Japanese factory. You're talking about craftsmanship that is considered to be on par with American craftsmanship. So if you're asking me, do I think an American made guitar is better than a Japanese guitar? No. Not as a general rule of thumb. Some of the guitars are going to be better than ours. Some of our guitars are going to be better than theirs. And let's also not get this one fact twisted too. There are plenty of American companies making products that aren't that great. Because once again, that brings us back to the simple principle of it still comes down to there's just people in a factory working. There's no mystical aspect to the American worker that somehow the Korean worker or the Japanese worker doesn't have, or the Mexican worker. It's just different workers. And there are crappy American employees the same as there's crappy employees anywhere else. If you're buying an American made product just because you think that it can't be bad because it was manufactured in America, I want you to think back on to some of our other products that we make. Think of our car recalls. Think of everything. Bad products are made on both sides. So, no, number one, American isn't always better than import. And no, because there's a difference between a cheap import and a quality import. And number two, quality is not always dictated by price. And another thing on the quality and price thing, I also believe that now within a guitar's line, quality and price are a factor. What I'm saying is quality does not always, price does not always dictate quality when you're talking about everybody's guitar against everybody's guitar. Meaning I can find a $3,000 guitar, but I can find a $1,000 guitar that will play just as good as it. But now if we're looking at a specific product line, like we're looking specifically at Ibanez or specifically at Fender or specifically at Gibson, then when we get to when we're looking at it that way, then money does equal quality, because as you pay more, the guitar does get better going up a specific company's line. But even then, I feel that after you get past the $2,000 mark, I don't think the quality of the instrument really gets any better. I think basically it just becomes a cosmetic thing and a buzzword thing. I think this is just me personally. Now, and we're not talking about custom shop. So let's first of all, there are some major differences between a product line or production line and an actual custom shop, just in the way that it's built, the way it's put together, the amount of attention that goes into certain things. Production line is made to be put together in a more streamlined fashion, whereas there's a lot more there's a lot more of a handmade attention to a custom shop piece. But anyway, okay, let's look at it like let's look at the Ibanez guitar line. So you would start off at one price point. You would get basically their Indonesian factory, and then you would go up to another price point and you would get, I'm not sure which factory it is, I think it's the Korean factory, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not exactly sure what factory the Iron Label stuff comes out of. But then the Iron Label is the finishes and the quality of the fret dressings and everything. It comes up to another level with the Iron Label stuff. So then you move to the premium line, and now you're now you've brought it up to even a better quality as far as the pickups and as far as the fret dressings and everything else. And then once you get up to the prestige line, now you've moved over to the Japanese factory, and you're almost at the you're almost at the top of what they do, but you're at the prestige level. You're getting much better pickup options. You're getting the prestige neck fret dressings. You're getting the prestige necks. Um, and then up from the just regular prestige, at that point, that's where you're going to jump off into your prestige level artist editions. And then after that, you're going to graduate to the J Craft. And the J Craft is basically, that is like the top of what Ibanez does at their Japanese factory. And there's not too many things that I think are better quality than a J Craft Ibanez guitar. Um, but there are things I think that are equal. Like, I think that a USA Jackson, um, Ibanez J Craft, anything of that level is a thing. But what I'm saying all that to say is that in that instance, there cost is quite noticeably affecting quality. But the only reason that is a true statement there is because that's in their own product line. And most manufacturers would be, let's face it, it would be a very stupid move for a manufacturer to make a $400 guitar that's every bit the equal of their $4,000 guitar. Because at that point, how do you sell the $4,000 guitar? Now, that doesn't mean that a company who only deals in doing $500 to $600 to $800 guitars, that's all they really do. It's not really, and that's not the same thing as saying that this guy making this $800 guitar can't make a guitar that's as good as this $2,000 guitar. It's possible. Doesn't mean that it always happens, but it's highly possible. Anyway, just wanted to add that. And I think most companies, once you get past the $2,000 mark, you're not really upgrading the guitar. Like you're not going to pick up a $2,000 guitar and a $3,000 guitar and go, this guitar is just so much better with your eyes closed. You know what I mean? But when you look at it, you're just, this has got these appointments and this has got this appointment. But it's all things that you say, not things you hear after the $2,000 mark. Or it's not things you feel. You don't feel, these frets feel so much better. No, they don't. Those frets feel pretty much the exact same as the other frets do. Because they are the same frets, same fret dressing, everything. It's just a more expensive model, It's like when you get it's like when you get a car and, you add the leather seats to it. Well, that's great. It looks great and everything, but realistically, those leather seats don't really improve the ride of the vehicle. When you ride from that car to the grocery store, it's still pretty much the same car, it just has leather seats. And I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at with that. It's still the same guitar, it's just got more appointments on it.